Hello everyone, this is Michael and this is the introduction to the grid overlay plugin for Unity for the Vectrosity plugin. So if you have the Vectrosity plugin and you want to use the grid overlay plugin with it, you can, and I'm going to show you how. So what I've got here is a project and we've got grid overlay imported and we have Vectrosity, the latest version, imported. And if you look in the main subfolder of Grid Overlay, there is another Unity package called Grid Overlay for Vectrosity. So if you want to double click that, then that will import what you need to get this thing working with Vectrosity. So let's go to the demo scene that I've got set up for you. Grid Overlay Vectrosity example. And so real quick, what we've got here is just a terrain. We've got some hills and we've got some obstacles. Okay, with the Vectrosity plugin, you can have the grid detect collisions and display those boxes individually. So let's take a quick look. Test grid is what I'm using. This would be your building. So what you would do, similar to the first video, is all you would do is put grid overlay Vectrosity. If you go to scripts, here it is, grid overlay Vectrosity, and that is all you need to put on your object to get the grid working. Now again, how you move your building around, that is up to you. There's a bunch of ways to do it. I have included a way for you to do it. You're welcome to use my scripts. I don't think this is the best way to do it, but it works. So at any rate, test grid move, that's my script to get this thing moving around. The character controller works with that. Grid overlay Vectrosity, that's the one that we're really concerned with. And here is grid overlay obstacle update. Now again, this is a custom script that I've used just for this scene, but it can show you how to get your game working with the way that you have it set up. The way that you have your building set up and your tags and everything, it is very easy to get this working with it, but because everybody's different, there will be a little bit of customization required there. So grid overlay Vectrosity. So start X and start Z. Now, these two are not going to be applicable if you have lock to object checked, and typically we will. But if you just want to pick an exact spot and start your grid there, this is where you would do it. So this is a world coordinate, 0, 80. These numbers aren't going to mean anything for us, but that's where you would put in where you want it to start. And then the size X and size Z, this is the size of the grid. The step, this is how big or small you want the boxes within your grid to be. So the larger the step, the larger the boxes, and therefore the smaller number of boxes that are within your grid. Height adjust, again, we're going to want a little bit of a height adjust because if we don't have any sort of buffer, then we will get some clipping with the terrain. Again, I usually use a 1 or a 2, but you can play with that number. Again, line width, same thing. Play with that number. Terrain is the terrain that we want to contour to. Lock to object. Now, this means that our grid is going to follow our object around. And like I said, typically that's what we're going to want. If we're doing something with buildings and we want to view conflicts and stuff like that, then lock to object is typically what we're going to want. And then we are also going to want to center on object typically as well. So that's it. Throw the script on there, put in some of these numbers, and let's see what we look like. All right, so there's our grid. 50 by 50 with a step of 2. And we got some nice contour going. Now, let's see what happens when we meet some of our obstacles. Yeah, see, it's letting us know, hey, that's no good. Same thing down here. Nice up and down the hill. I'm going to do some more videos on how I have used this in my game, Heroes of Issachar, and let you know that there are future updates coming that will expand on some of the things that we've got here. But for now, this should work right out of the box for you. You slap it on an object, and you've got a grid that will contour to terrain.